I think also that Bitcoin having perfect wallets and educators podcasts protocol without culture, without our romantic ideas of hyper Bitcoinization, without our bad guys and
Yeah,
good guys
yeah.
and some kind of standards of value judgment, what we call culture and a manifestation of this culture in forms of stories, books, films, Bitcoin wouldn't succeed without it.
Keep 'em cold till I'm old. I don't plan to blow my load. Wallet so blue, if you know, you know. It's better than bonds, better than gold. Finna reap up what I sow. Fit money can't keep up, it gets sold. How many times you been told? DCA's the way to go. Higher highs, higher lows. Every year my network grows. Every day my network grows. Running relays, running nodes. Yeah. Dollar a day's a minimum. Stats, zap sats. Any fear I get, I'm flipping them.
So, Tomek, give us an introduction of who you are, what you do at Albi, and then tell us, please, why you're in Sri Lanka.
All right, so my name is Tomek, and I'm from Poland, that we already mentioned. I'm libertarian activist for years, and also then later turned into Bitcoin activist. So I organized Bitcoin Film Fest as one of my initiatives.
Nice.
Doing that, I also got to know some of the other activists and entrepreneurs in the industry. That's how I met Albi, and I joined the team as their buzz maker. We like buzzing, having B in our logo. So I'm on the marketing side of the team, some partnerships, podcast visits, pushing and getting our developers to be invited in podcasts, lots of social media. Everybody loves Albi, and that's not all just my. It's not just thanks to me, but that's what I'm responsible for, this type of public relations and brand recognition of Albi. And this, working, I feel privileged to work in the space that my passion is at, and it also
Yeah.
it lets me fulfill kind of my forever dream of being able to work from elsewhere, anywhere. And
Yeah.
at Albi also I have this opportunity that no one minds where geographically I am. I feel also a bit tired, bored maybe with Poland and with Warsaw, where it's like my base city. So I use this opportunity to travel, and I just chose Sri Lanka to stay here for a month and to meet some Bitcoiners as well. Try to pay for surfing classes in Bitcoin, explore beaches, and
Nice.
enjoy my time here.
Surfing seems to be a theme amongst, I guess, some Bitcoiners, because there's Bitcoin Akazi, there is in El Sante, there's the surfing lessons as well, and in Sri Lanka, it seems to be a beach thing. I don't know if there's surfing in Costa Rica as well with the Bitcoin
Oh, for
jungle,
sure,
perhaps.
for sure. Yes, they are surfing. I know Paul, for example. He's a surfer. They are even there is a John is quite often visiting them. He's even making a movie. I know movies from running
Sweet.
Bitcoin Film Fest and Bitcoin Surf. So hopefully we can also see it at some point released, and we could watch it. I didn't start yet surfing. Mm, I did on my last trip. I was in Egypt where I also organized some Bitcoin meetups, and I did a diving course where I eventually convinced to pay in Bitcoin, totally in Bitcoin. Like in Egypt, it would be unthinkable because it's quite illegal to promote cryptocurrencies, to mine, to exchange. But these guys accepted, and that's my plan also here. I didn't go to my destination yet, the city where I want to settle for a few weeks, but my goal is yes to learn a bit surfing, and this complementary goal is to pay for it in Bitcoin.
Sweet. Fun fact, I don't know if you'll care, but when I was in university, I had 3 part-time jobs to pay my tuition because I did not want to take out a loan. And one of them was actually hosting birthday parties in a Sri Lankan banquet hall in Toronto, because there's a pretty big Sri Lankan community in Scarborough where I grew up. And I can tell you, it was the best part-time job I've ever had in my life. Like, it was so much fun. Why? Okay, so birthday parties and weddings. So for the weddings, we got to dress up in saris and put a bindi on. And I don't know if this is the culture of the types of Sri Lankans who came to Toronto or if it's like this everywhere in Sri Lanka, but they like to celebrate and play music and play games and eat good food. And it was all about gift giving. And so the tips would also be very generous if they were happy with how you made the guests feel. And the food was really, really good as well. Sri Lankan men in particular, because all of the cooks were men, cook so well, in my personal opinion.
I still yet need to stay a bit longer to judge on my own. I just came like a week ago. So far, yes, the people here they seem to be super friendly. However, I'm not the biggest fan of their food, so it's also yet space for me to explore.
Are you not into the spicy stuff, or?
Not into lots of spices and lots of rice. That's not my thing.
Ah, well, then you may not stay there for too long, because I do believe that a lot of the food is very, very spicy.
Indeed.
So tell us, how did you discover Bitcoin and what led you on a path to pursue a career in Bitcoin?
As I mentioned, I've been libertarian activist, organizing various conferences, demonstrations here in Poland, some economic seminars, book translations, whatever maybe we could think of, working for some libertarian NGOs. And then, like, naturally, Bitcoin was on the radar, right? When it appeared and somebody was like, I heard some gossips, there is this internet money, you can buy drugs, but also it's something that is not controlled by government. So it's like gold, but digital. I kind of got like, I'm into technology, so I was like, yeah, that's cool, let's try it. I installed some wallet. I don't even remember the reason. I just gave up, forgot, and remembered for years that there is this Bitcoin somewhere. And over the years, it was kind of growing in me, doing those various activities. Eventually, I turned them into like opening a libertarian bar. We started a libertarian football team in Poland. We even played some nice tournaments.
Sweet.
I tried various types of activities that would accomplish my mission. I wanted a freer world around me, and I wanted people to understand the advantages of free market, individual rights, individual freedom, autonomy. But most of these activities somehow, except for like having fun of playing soccer and running a libertarian bar in Warsaw Center, I didn't see many measurable effects on the society. Of course, right? It takes because it takes time, it takes lots of people, and in the meantime, lots of things can change. So it's even hard to expect many results from this type of activism. And I was kind of also content and sad that libertarians in Poland are not interested in Bitcoin. I'm like, okay, we try this, and we like to discuss Menger, Rand, Hayek, who was right, engage in lots of online discussions that were Polish. Libnet was very active years ago, and I was an active part of it. But somehow there was not a big interest of Bitcoin, which seemed a bit unnatural. Like, if you love freedom, why don't you even like try to read the white paper or try to do your first transaction? With the years, I just became more engaged into it until, I don't know, maybe 2019, 20, when this Bitcoin maximalism culture was also defining. Then I also started to understand, okay, it's not just about this cryptocurrency, but there is a bigger thing going on, and there are reasons why Bitcoin is different than cryptos. I became more convinced. I kind of not gave up on libertarian activism, but I moved my focus to advocate for Bitcoin.
Shout out to the Orange Manufacturing Group. They helped me with my logo design, and you know that I'll be ordering their premium hardwood sign and lightning keychain. Accessories are curated from a selection of durable traditional materials built to last. Use the Geyser Fund link in the show notes to take advantage of their trust minimal process. Or to save 5%, go to omg21btc.com. That's omg21 btc.com and use code AAB21Q.
And we helped also to translate the Bitcoin standard and the fiat standard and little Bitcoin book to Polish. Then also now soon Lynn Alden, Broken Money is coming out in Poland with the effort of my friends. We also introduced Bitcoin on our Weekend of Capitalism conference and forced users to use Bitcoin if they wanted to have some freebies. And yeah, then as I guess is the case for many of us, I got this dream of, okay, I need to like be in this industry, right? And to not just as a hobby, but also professionally, since I already have some experience and knowledge. So let's turn my career into Bitcoin. In the meantime, I organized Bitcoin Film Fest also as part of Activism. So it's all like gradual process, right? There was no, I guess, one single decision or book or revelation that I had. And it's still this, as we all are growing and learning through our life, I'm still discovering myself as a Bitcoiner. And who knows if I will stay Bitcoiner, right? I can consider myself a Bitcoin maximalist, but I'm not Bitcoin absolutist. I'm not like all for Bitcoin, and this is the ultimate goal or standard of value. I'm advocating for Bitcoin, and I'm convinced about its value for bringing freedom, because it brings freedom, because it's very and probably the most effective tool to liberate society as a whole, but also ourselves personally. And I guess our listeners can experience that. So I'm like my absolute rather is I think it's a happy life, and to have happy life, you need to be free. You need to people around you to have relationships with them, also to be free. So the freedom is like the lower level, and then why freedom? Because of freedom, I advocate for Bitcoin. But if there would be something better, I guess that's very speculative, if it's even possible with current technology. But we could probably imagine some maybe utopian, but we could imagine something better than Bitcoin. I would probably advocate for it. Yes, and I don't see anything wrong with it, I guess. And I'm a bit also sad, not disappointed, but I don't like this approach where people very quickly give their value judgments based on this type of Bitcoin absolutism without taking the initial steps to understand why.
Well, so I'll come back to that in a second, but I'm just really curious, of the libertarians you grew up with, what do you think it was that made them reject Bitcoin but still believe in a libertarian ideology? What was the thing that didn't click?
Oh, I could discuss it, for hours. This is
okay, high level, like 2 or 3 things.
Poland specifically has quite low, maybe not low, underachieving and small Bitcoin culture and community for its local reasons and the path dependence of how various Bitcoin initiatives were being run in 2015, 17. Many of them appear to be scams, and there is like lots of interest to crypto. There is not that many. It's growing, right? We have our 21 community. We are having our meetups, and it's growing. There are businesses. We Bitcoiners have our network, Telegram chats. It's okay, but compared to our neighbors from Germany or Switzerland or Czech Republic, Poland, even being a relatively large country, has a small Bitcoin followers. There has never been a good content. YouTube, there is no YouTube, Bitcoin YouTube in Polish, for example. If you search for it, you will find lots of crypto and scammers, etc. So that's one reason, I think, that in general Poland. And then libertarians. Unfortunately, I being for many years and in the center of libertarian movement in Poland and also globally. I guess that's the case for any type of intellectual activism where I could observe, okay, I can be wrong in my judgment, but I could observe that they're not necessarily libertarians. You can call yourself libertarian if you read certain books and if you think, okay, this is my truth. I will discuss about it. I want to be right about it. I want to be right about it. I want to discuss and have a proper critique of a presidential politics from libertarian position. Yes, I mean, nice, right? But I want to see a freedom in your heart. I want to see you, if you want to be libertarian, to try those various technologies, ways to achieve freedom in your personal life. To you don't have to advocate for it. You don't have to discuss about it. But do you travel? Do you go outside of your comfort zone? Do you check how to get a second passport? Do you see how to maybe achieve your wealth that wouldn't be controlled, or it would be easier to hide from the government, etc.? I didn't find it in the libertarian movement. It's kind of how we call it, ivory tower for the most part.
Yeah.
But then coming to Bitcoin space, I was surprised. Now it's not a surprise for me, but it's a happy constatation that Bitcoiners are more libertarians and they have this freedom in their hearts more than libertarians are. Unfortunately, this is the case, not blaming anyone, but this is true libertarian movement here in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I find that with activism in general, there seems to be like the ideology and the nice words that describe what you should be doing, what you should be thinking, what a candidate should. And then there's the sort of practical, pragmatic, how things are operationalized. And I've found that in a few different types of movements, it is difficult for even some of the most vocal people to actually practice what they preach, you know, to use a cliche saying. It's tough. And then within Bitcoin, I found people who don't profess any sort of political or other ideology, but the way they live, it just seems, like you said, so free, you know, like they don't even think about certain things. They just use Bitcoin in their daily lives, and their actions, I find, speak very loudly.
Exactly.
So I know you mentioned that you didn't like Bitcoin absolutism, and also you mentioned in Poland that there were a lot of scams and stuff. And I think you're right. Absolutism, like just saying this is how it is and things will never change, is not the best approach. But I think I'll speak for myself. Seeing scams and seeing people get rug pulled and stuff, it kind of like pushes you to a place where the first reaction is to just say, no, that's a shitcoin. Like, no, don't do that. No. Even though it may not fully be warranted. So for example, during the block size wars, SegWit was rolled out on Litecoin. Sandbox, as a developer here that I know, says Litecoin was a sandbox to test something, and then it was rolled out on Bitcoin. So there can be a role for other chains, I suppose. But I think the idea of just saying no to everything else is a defense mechanism that's developed throughout the years because of all the scams that have happened.
Yes, and I think it's I guess this type of attitude that we can call absolutism is maybe a psychological shortcut, which or generalization that can serve nice purpose in some ways, but I disagree with attitudes when some Bitcoiners encounter somebody who is, I don't know, maybe he's not a Bitcoiner yet. Right, we've been there. He's shitcoining, right? Oh no, he's shitcoining. I don't like him. We're not talking with him because he's like. I mean, come on, like I met so many like nice people, you know, good, smart guys with honest intentions who they will get there hopefully, right? I don't have to agree with them on what money will bring freedom, even if it's not their goal, or where to invest in, or what technology is superior to the other. Yeah, these shortcuts can be often misleading. I think that in general in life we should be guided by principles, not by rules, and having this. Every case is individual and contextual, but it's also important to always ask why and have your own like system of thinking, and to know what is good and what is bad. I don't think it's a good heuristic to see, orange, good, not orange, bad, right? Orange bad
Yeah.
or orange
Yeah.
coin, right? It's a really nuanced ethical issue where you need to figure out, okay, what is your evaluation, what is good, what is bad, what is the standard of morality, does it serve your life or not, does it serve your goals? I guess this is right. This is philosophy, and this type of approaches that we might disagree with. I also have lots of shortcuts that serve me, and they save time and probably maybe sometimes save life or money, whatever. I guess
Yeah.
it's just useful in life to have this type of approach.
I agree. And I think that for someone as posed and as well reflected as you, what you describe is perfect. And I think that if I consider people that I've encountered, the idea of just taking a second to say, is this good? Is this bad? Does this align with my values? That doesn't happen. Like, there are so many people who just want to get rich quickly. And so, like, for example, when I get a message and is this coin? My direct answer is no. No, 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 because it's not coming from a place of seeking out freedom. It's coming from a place of, can I get in and out very quickly? And so, no, like, it's my default. Or if I get an email saying, oh, like this person said, if I do this, I'll get whatever. No, don't do it. It's a scam. Like, that is my default. But you're right. And I think that for people who actually take the time to reflect, they won't fall into the sort of the toxic maximalist trap because they're already thinking for themselves. But for a lot of people, as we've seen with this Malay meme coin, the Libra coin, they still load in so much money on these things. Like, was it 40 billion or something like that? Like, some insane amount of money on this coin. And it's like, who are these people? Like, why do you think that you can exactly, but I hear what you're saying.
Humanity,
So then, yeah. I was listening to the Nakamoto Institute podcast with Pierre Rochard and Bitstein, and they reviewed an article that they had written, I think in 2013, like a really, really long time ago. And something I found very fascinating. Pardon?
I will check it.
Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, because so the perspective was, this is what we wrote. Were we on the right path, or were we off track? And the topic of S-curve adoption, and I think that's one of the 21 questions I have for you, came up. And I think it was Pierre Rochard who had said, or maybe it was Bitstein, but they said that they really thought that like within 2 or 3 years of 2013, adoption would go through the roof, because for them, they were already at like the it's not the early adopter phase. It's like the tech people who experiment and stuff. They were already at that phase. So they just assumed that, like everything would just go naturally and we'd be further along with respect to Bitcoin adoption. And then they zoomed out and they said, like, if you look at it, it's like 0.0025% or something like that of the population who's actually like aware of Bitcoin and using Bitcoin or has an address or something like that. So we are still very, very early. And I think that there are still a lot of people out there who really think that Bitcoin or crypto is just about like literally printing money out of thin air and just getting rich off of some coin that you can produce.
I think that Bitcoin is a tool of change on a civilizational scale, and civilization, society, culture, humanity as a whole, it has lots of inertia for any changes to happen. And if we want Bitcoin to succeed, we might have perfect protocol. We maybe don't need any more updates, upgrades, fixes, etc. We might not have yet and I think this is also the point we are at now, the perfect wallets with a great user interface to onboard newbies, right? It will take time to also learn this design, how to onboard new. It will be different, I guess. Maybe interface would work on people in Sri Lanka, different for people in Switzerland, right?
Yeah.
But then also there is Nakamoto Institute, right? There are podcasts. There is more educators. If we just had this protocol and we wouldn't have those other tools, design solutions, educators, some culture, legal adoption, like some laws that wouldn't at least ban Bitcoin, right? The protocol itself just wouldn't conquer the world. And on the other hand, if we have Bitcoin memes and stories and heroes and ethos and culture, and we have Bitcoin maximalism, and like we already right? So, maybe it wasn't me, but somebody thought through what Bitcoin can achieve, and we have like the vision of hyper Bitcoinization. We need wallets, right? We need legal. There is like so many areas that Bitcoin adoption needs to go in parallel at the, like, maybe not same tempo, but they need each other to grow. That's also one of the reasons why we launched the Bitcoin Film Fest, because the culture, I guess, and it's something that that I'm also taking from Ayn Rand. I really follow the philosophy of Ayn Rand's Objectivism, and she advocated that for the society, humanity, the most effective medium of conveying ideas is through culture. Of course, there is like academia, mass media, educators, books, etc. But after all, what you call culture is something that through osmosis the majority of people would accept. And I think also that Bitcoin having perfect wallets and educators, podcasts, protocol without culture, without our romantic ideas of hyper Bitcoinization, without our bad guys and good guys and some kind of standards of value judgment, what we call culture and a manifestation of this culture in forms of stories, books, films, Bitcoin wouldn't succeed without it. So culture and infrastructure, like if I had to categorize in these two kind of two categories, right? They should grow together, and for them to grow together, it will take time. The movie, one good movie, you will make in 4 years. The one good wallet, you also need few years to develop, etc. Right? So the more you dig and the deeper you are into this rabbit hole, the more, not that the more obstacles you see, but the more I think one understands how much it takes for Bitcoin to actually be adopted. And there is like so many things that Bitcoin still could go wrong. So it's important that we have initiatives like Bitcoin Film Fest, that we have podcasts like yours. So everything, hopefully, right? I'm not don't know
hopefully,
for sure, but we all hope that it adds another brick to this huge building that is happening. And civilizational changes wouldn't happen overnight, so it takes generations for sure. Yeah, that's my input.
I totally agree. And just building on the word infrastructure that you mentioned, we can talk about Lightning and L2, right? When did you first? When did you first experiment with Lightning or even read about it?
The first, I think it was at the right before pandemic. I was invited. No, I actually co-organized it. One of Warsaw Bitcoin Cafe meetup. It's a longest going weekly meetup organized by my friend Robert. Hello. He asked me if
hello, Robert.
If I want to speak about my. I wasn't at Bitcoin Maxi yet, right? But I want to give a presentation about Bitcoin, and we actually organized it in that Freedom Lounge, the bar I mentioned earlier. It was the last meetup before lockdowns. And yeah, this meetup after party guys were doing, I think it was Phoenix or Blixt. They tried to explain me channels, and I've heard of Lightning. I think I've heard of Lightning before that. Oh, there is something that you can do cheap, and I saw some videos, bam. But the first time I actually experimented was then, so it was early 2020. Yes.
And so from there, did you imagine that you would be joining a company like Albi afterward, or how did that connection happen?
No, at that point I didn't think of it, I already knew that Bitcoin is the direction I want to go professionally and with my interest in. But then what was it? Yes, I used Lightning for I think Wallet of Satoshi, Blink, some easy solutions. Then we did 2021. I organized this Weekend of Capitalism conference in Poland. It's like our libertarian main event. And we made a vice prime minister, because he was one of the speakers, to make a Lightning transaction. So he paid for a coffee in Lightning. We made some photos to go viral locally.
Nice.
With much reception, because not many people in our country even knew about Lightning. It was a bit of a mock-up transaction,
Okay.
like they did in PubKey, right, with Donald Trump. But at least our vice prime minister, he installed this app, he did the transaction, not like Donald was just looking and like somebody was actually.
Yeah.
And then my good friend got job in Albi. I remember I was also, I think I was applying to Swan at the time. And I was like looking at bitcoinerjobs.com and like applying somewhere. And my friend Santor, he bragged, hey, I got this, I will be a designer now at Albi. He still is. And that's why Albi is so beautiful. I didn't think that I would be joining Albi. I didn't even know what is it. I was like, oh, yeah, there's this extension. Let's try it, right? Then Albi was a sponsor. Yeah, I asked through him if they would like to chip in for the Bitcoin Film Festival, March 2023. So they chipped in 200 euros or something. I also, not only with them, but doing such initiative it gives a nice network and opens some relationship with various projects, right? So it often helps. Whoever wants to land a job in Bitcoin space, I would recommend to start working on his own project, promote it, build some relationships. With Albi, for example, we are always on the lookout for some new projects, new apps, new websites. Then you get to know people who are working there, to recommend some investment opportunities or some hackathons or being active member of the community. I think it's also kind of not a standard, but it's like a unwritten culture of hiring at least in this open source like Albi group of projects, that first we hire out of contributors, out of active members. It's not like you post on Craigslist, you post a job offer, right? First you look through your contributors, maybe there is a match for the position that you are looking for.
Yeah.
Then some active users, then you ask other projects, hey Saida, do you know somebody who is doing JavaScript junior could land a job here, we are looking for somebody, right? And then at the end, if you don't have it, such jobs are posted. So that's just my small advice to anyone who would like to follow these steps and get a job in Bitcoin. And that's then some people from Albi reached out to me. Oh, you are doing a great job with the Bitcoin Film Fest, because we launched it, and we were me and my friends surprised how well the first edition went. So yeah, I got an offer. We got on a few calls, and for almost 2 years, I'm a proud member of the team. Yes.
Well done. So my audience is relatively small, and I would say that there are a number of people. Well, of my small audience, a pretty high percentage are not aware that there are Bitcoin films. So can you tell us more about the types of films that you screen during Bitcoin Film Fest and what people learn from them?
Yeah, this is a question we got probably the most often. What, there are Bitcoin films?
Oh yeah, because
there is more than one.
There
is even a film festival. There is even like every year the film festival with like 10 and more titles. But we are screening everything that is out there. It's not like there is high selection, because of course there is not yet that many productions. But it's already happening. As I said, after 16 years of Bitcoin existence, we already have our memes, our stories, people who write books, people who write books that could be adapted into films.
Memes are important. Yep.
Go with the camera and record what's happening in Salvador and create documentary out of it, right? One of the first like Bitcoin video was video tutorial. And I don't know if you don't probably consider it Bitcoin cinema, right? But the first occurrence, right, is like some screen sharing of somebody who is explaining how to use the faucet. And then so it was like educational material, and most of this material still after 16 years, vast majority is documentaries, because it's I don't want to like degrade this genre, but it's a bit easier to create documentary, and to create a good documentary it takes a bit less of everything than to create a good story. You don't need actors, you don't need good story, and then the performance, really, like to make a good fiction that is entertaining, hands down, who can do it well. It's really an art. So vast majority of films in the Bitcoin cinema space, it is Bitcoin documentaries. Within those Bitcoin documentaries, majority is general. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? And there is like 4 or 5 already movies like this. What is Bitcoin and why Bitcoin is good? There are some documentaries that they document some story from Central Africa. There is few documentaries about Salvador. Here and there we have small movies, we can call them documentaries or YouTube projects about some circular economies, etc. But there is, fortunately, and I really love observing this to happen, there is more. There is a comedy, Spanish comedy, Hotel Bitcoin, where Bitcoin, because also there is a question, what is Bitcoin movie, right? Is it film about Bitcoin, or is this film that mentions Bitcoin, or is this film funded with Bitcoin? There are comedies, there are start to be like some romantic comedies. There is already few crimes, the one even from Indonesia. But it's like a typical action story where somebody stole Bitcoin from somebody. Instead of like, I don't know, like a bag of cash, they are running with a hard drive, right? So it's not really a Bitcoin film, that it doesn't like follow the ethos of Bitcoin, right? But there is Bitcoin so in it, so you can consider it maybe a Bitcoin film. So it's still a vague definition what is Bitcoin film. But we also like to say at Bitcoin Film Fest that it's not just films about Bitcoin, because there can be some work of video art that doesn't even mention this decentralized digital crypto asset on the blockchain that enables peer-to-peer transactions, but that there is no mention even of Bitcoin, but you can consider that it's a part of Bitcoin culture. And I think already we incorporated Matrix, for example, being part of Bitcoin culture, right? Of course, like we don't.
I was just thinking about the Matrix.
We don't have to ask Wachowski brothers or sisters or Wachowskis now whether they agree with it or not. But there is something, and it's still to be defined. We try to help defining what is Bitcoin culture, what is Bitcoin films. So there are films that have Bitcoin in it, that are about Bitcoin, that Bitcoin is just mentioned, but maybe drives the motivations of the heroes. There is a few cartoons already. There is Turtle Twins. Maxis Club is preparing their cartoon. There is Satoshi Sound.
The Tuttle Twins.
There is already a few cartoons. There is one by Spiral. They released a few episodes of this Sesame Street Bitcoin persona with a costume, which is like not a cartoon, but it's kind of for kids. So there is already many genres popping, and it's only the beginning. Of course, it started with this one video tutorial through documentaries. I can't wait for some good science fiction, Black Mirror or Orange Mirror type of story, which will like imagine and romanticize about what will the world on Bitcoin look like, or how maybe Bitcoin could be transported on different planets. I know of some scripts. Some Bitcoiners who are creative, they try to come together with this idea of, okay, maybe year 2050. There is one animated film by Aaron Koenig, for example. The title of it is Satoshi's Last Will, right? Year 2050, and some kid discovers that his passed away grandpa was Satoshi Nakamoto, and there is his to find his key to his bitcoins is split into 7 parts in different parts of the world. So they go on a journey and collect those parts to unlock bitcoins, right? That's the log line of the film. It also follows the classic plot of 7 Dragon Balls around the world, or this type of adventure scheme. But I guess Aaron will also work on it, that this will not just be Bitcoin would be part of it, but this will inspire people to be individualistic, to look at the world from a bit different perspective, to be critical
Yeah.
towards the system. So I think those are this kind of positions, values that you can consider part of Bitcoin culture. And Bitcoin films, they don't have to talk about Bitcoin, but
Yeah.
I guess if they somehow work around those things I mentioned, you can call them Bitcoin films. There are also films that are funded with Bitcoin. You already have some films so
Yeah.
Bitcoin changes cinema not only on the narrational level, what is being said in the story, what's the plot, what's in the screenplay, but also how movies are being produced, how movies are being financed, distributed. There is
Yeah.
Indie Hub, a very nice startup working in this video casting 2.0. This is like this type of infrastructure that grows together with culture, right? That helps people to distribute movies in value manner. There is Geyser Fund, there is Angor that allows to crowdfund. They work on
Yeah.
projects, but there is already some movies that were being funded with it. So there is many ways. I guess it's not surprising, right? If you as maximalist, somebody who's listening to it, is convinced that Bitcoin is changing many industries, starting from finance industry, I guess, code development industry, but it goes through
Yeah.
e-commerce, transport, energy. Also, cinema is also one of the industries that is slowly being
Yeah.
maybe not captured, but
And
influenced with
culture.
Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin Film Fest, we are trying to foster the growth of this culture.
You know what I would really enjoy watching? Which is probably quite superficial compared to, for example, Satoshi Nakamoto's grandkids who travel the world to find the seven keys. But it would be cool to see like a film or even like a reality show on trust, like couples trust. And the goal is to find out, so it could be, the goal is to find out how you can trust someone enough to get with them and eventually perhaps share your private keys. So a whole sequence of, I don't know if they would be challenges, I don't know if it would be like spending time together, but just to figure out if you're single, how you can trust someone so that you can actually make that giant leap of perhaps showing your private keys or, you know, just maybe revealing what your stack is or developing a multi-sig with them so that you can actually lay the foundation to build a family. I think that would be quite fascinating because I've asked this question a few times of single Bitcoiners. How do you know when you can trust someone enough to reveal your stack or share your keys? And there doesn't seem to be a clear answer. So to watch something that documents that, whether it's fiction or a reality show, I think would be quite amusing.
Of course, I love all formats. You know, cinema is great because maybe gaming is a bit
Or maybe
stepping up
not,
to
given
that.
the silence.
But there's different formats of reality shows. There is one Bitcoin filmmaker from Los Angeles who is pitching like a quiz show idea, and he already made one pilot episode that he would also try to smuggle Bitcoin with it. That it wouldn't be a Bitcoin quiz show, but it's one of these different formulas that I also
Cool.
love watching on my own. That maybe doesn't fit like a classic cinema way of, okay, this is how you make, this is a movie, right? But we don't really need to follow any fiat structures. We are happy to show, and that's what we do in big cinema in Warsaw, where we do our film festival.
Yeah.
The best venue in Poland we have for this festival. We are showing some YouTube videos, some music videos, some advertisement, and I can assure you, anyone who is producing some video content just loves this feeling to see his creation on this big screen, even if it's not like Universal Studios feature film project.
Wow. I can imagine. I can imagine. So films and stuff. So when you have the film festivals, I suppose like entry is paid via Lightning. And is there like on-site support or anything to help people set up their Lightning wallets or AlbiGo, for example?
I lost Tomek, guys. We had a lot of recording issues during the interview. I did my best to edit, but we've lost him. If you want to see more of Tomek, please check out the Bitcoin Film Festival. And of course, you can watch or listen to Tomek answer 21 questions about the Lightning Network. See you next time.
Keys. Yeah. Man like quakes. Man like who? Yeah. Takes her Bitcoin off exchanges under self-custody. She runs her own node, providing liquidity. Yeah, she got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got her own keys. Yeah, she got her own keys. 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 Yeah, she got her own keys.